Hey everybody, Dr. Mark Arcuri here in Santa Fe, New Mexico this evening. Obviously, I'm outside at my home here in Santa Fe. Got airplanes going over above us, and birds all around, and it's absolutely a spectacular day. And I wanted to take just a few minutes to come to you and talk about something that's come up this week in a coaching session with a client, and I know she wouldn't mind me mentioning it here, and perhaps would be interested in my response. But she's doing a whole lot. She has some concerns that she came to coaching to deal with, but for quite some time has been doing a lot of different things to try and work those through. Seminars with some pretty well-known leaders on the internet and on television, and following some plans that have been posted by people that she aspires to follow. And things just kind of go round and round, and for a number of years, the end result is that pretty much things go back to the way they were, if they ever change at all. So she's kind of frustrated and wondering if she's maybe doing too much or too little, or the right things or the wrong things, or the wrong combinations of things, or anything else along those lines. And so we talked a little bit about it, and we ended the session with some things that I had asked her to do in the coming couple weeks before we meet again. And her comment at that time was that the ideas were good, but they're things that in some variation she's tried before, not exactly the way I suggested them, but similar things, and she wondered whether there was any value to do it, but she trusted me and was willing to give it a shot. So I was thinking about that session in the past week or so, and what I was thinking about was the idea of having a concern and wanting to address it, and doing all these things that we feel called to do. We sort of, it's kind of like getting an illness and Googling it, and looking at all the different remedies and suggestions and things that you might do to combat that. And it gets very confusing after a while. And we can certainly try everything, but we have to be honest with ourselves about how things are working. And when we find ourselves kind of coming back in the end to the same problem that we were dealing with all along, not only is it very frustrating, but it's also an opportunity to take a look at our approach and see if perhaps we could do things differently. So what I'm wondering with my client is whether we are getting into a situation where all of the things that she's doing are just sort of addressing the superficial aspects of what's going on in her life, and not really getting deeper. And that's important to do that, at least in the beginning, to get a better understanding of what's going on. But at some point, you sort of have to settle in with something and focus on it and take it as deep as you can go to get to that real transformational change that we all strive for in our lives. And I think that's the missing piece in this case. I think sometimes we get into this situation where there's almost a fantasy that if we try all these different things, something's just going to click, and all of a sudden we're going to wake up and life is going to be different today. And that doesn't usually happen. And what's missing is taking just one of those things. Granted, probably any of them could afford the change that we're looking for, but we've got to take just one of them and really dig deeper into what's going on, so that we can get to those levels that the meaningful change can happen on. So what I want to suggest to her in our upcoming session, and I suggest to you, is if you're spinning your wheels and you're trying all these different techniques and all the different approaches that you read about on the internet and you hear about in some of the videos that you watch from various people, including myself, is that you kind of give one or two things a chance for a while, and get down deep into what's going on, and see if you can find a way to get to a level that you don't usually get to when you just constantly start over again trying a different technique, and see if that makes a difference. And I bet it will. I think it's going to make a big difference actually in your life. So pick one thing that you're struggling with right now, and look at all the different things that you're doing to try and work through that. And pick one, maybe two, but preferably one, and really run with it. Do everything that you can in that regard that technique offers you, and see what difference you can make. If it doesn't give you the results you want, you can always try something else, but at least you're not spinning your wheels and jumping around and trying all different things and not really giving any of them a chance to get at that deep, deep essence of who you really are, because that's in the end where change has to happen. Change in our life has to happen on the level of who we really are, that core sense of ourselves. And the reason for that is because if something is bothering us enough, that's the level that it's really, really kind of chipping away at us. And we've got to get to that level if we want to respond to it. So give it a shot this week. Let me know your comments. Scroll down, let us know. Audio, if you're listening to an audio cast, I can't think of what it's called. Podcast, thank you. If you're thinking of listening to a podcast, go ahead and go to drmarkarcuri.com and send us a comment there. You can reach us in various ways, and we can sort of work on this together. But the key element is to focus on one thing, one technique, and find a way to work that through to get to those deeper parts of yourself where meaningful change can happen. Give it a shot. Let us know how it goes. Lots of love and gratitude. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Mark Arcuri here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Ciao.